Hi there, sports fans. This is Play It Right TV, and I'm Kinito Henson.
And I'm Diane Castillejo. Thank you for tuning in to another episode. We hope that you're going to enjoy our special interview tonight. I did not speak to them, but Kinito did, and Gretchen Ho. The one and only Kai Sotto was a very, very exciting career path ahead of him.
Well, Diane, 7th player, a homegrown Filipino, getting a chance to break into the NBA. He could be the first full-blooded Filipino ever to play in the NBA. And we want to be able to thank Smart Sports for giving Play It Right TV this opportunity to air this entire interview that we're going to split into two parts. And Diane, not only are we going to be speaking with Kai Sotto himself, but also his NBA agent Joel Bell, his conditioning coach Jeremiah Boswell, and a good friend of ours, Diane, the manager, the CEO of East West Private, Patty Scott.
Yes, thank you so much, Patty, for making this happen again. And we know that you are all watching out for Kai Sotto and whether he's going to make it to the NBA. Well, let's hear it directly from Kai himself.
It has been a lifelong dream for the 7'2", 20-year-old to get into the highest level of professional basketball in the world. And now we are at the cusp of realizing that dream. Will he be the first full-bred homegrown Filipino in the NBA? Fresh off his stint in Australia, we check in with Kai Sotto, his trainer Jeremiah Boswell, agent Joel Bell, manager Patty Scott, and their preparations for the upcoming NBA draft. My name is Gretchen Ho, and with me today is my partner, veteran broadcaster Kinito Henson. A good morning to all of you from Manila. Good morning, Kinito.
Good morning, Gretchen, and good morning to all the guys here. We're so excited to talk to Kai Sotto, and of course, the team that's behind him, the team that's behind trying to put him in the NBA.
Good morning, Kai.
Good morning.
Good evening pala. What time is it there?
Good evening, Dito. Yeah, good morning there. Thanks for having us.
Good evening to Jeremiah, Joel.
Good evening. Thanks for having us. Looking
Looking
forward
good
to the
with all the light,
conversation.
huh?
And Patty, we want to say hi to Patty too.
Of course. Well, let's start off with a very Filipino question, Kinito. Kai, kamusta ka? Kamusta? How is your schedule there? How's your life there? How's your training?
Everything's going well. First couple days, it was a bit struggle, a bit jet lag, but my team around me helped me. Jeremiah, great guy, great trainer, helped me this past 2 weeks training, and I think I'm very happy with what we've done so far, and I'm looking forward to what we're gonna do in the next couple weeks.
Well, Kai, first of all, belated happy birthday. You turned 20 last Wednesday, so we gotta give that greeting. Kai,
Thank you.
At your age, with your Filipino heritage, how does it feel to be now so close to being picked in the NBA draft?
It's exciting because it's gonna be first. I think it's the first time that full-grown Filipino has been this close. But I'm still just focused on working hard every single day to improve and to get better and to be ready when the draft comes. And I'm just excited and nervous at the same time. But I can't wait.
Guy, you're talking about working hard in training. Can you give us an idea of what your day is like when you wake up in the morning, when you report for work in training? I know that the invitations from NBA teams are coming up. So how are you working yourself to be at peak form so when you report for action, you're ready to go? And also a question about your trainer, Jeremiah Boswell. What has he helped you in preparing for these NBA camps?
I think Jeremiah can answer better about our workouts because he's the one who's making the schedule, and I think Joe will answer about the NBA workouts because he knows more of that. But in terms of my workouts here in Atlanta, I usually train twice a day and I lift 3 times a week, and work out in the morning with Jeremiah, and then usually I have a shooting workout with Coach Corey, and that's 6 times a week, and yeah, just working out every day with my trainers, and I think I'm doing pretty good, and they've been pushing me these past weeks. So yeah, it's been great.
Okay, Nito, since we're talking to Jeremiah, before we get to him, let's ask Kai why he chose to go with Jeremiah. I mean, there are many trainers, but what is it with Jeremiah's program that led you to come to his door?
Jeremiah, I've known Jeremiah since my TSF days. I had a couple workouts with him. I'll probably say Jeremiah has been my toughest trainer. He's given me the toughest workouts. That's why I chose to come and train with him, because I know that I will be very challenged when I work out with him, and I think that will really prepare me to this upcoming NBA team workout. So it's almost a no-brainer to choose Jeremiah, and I trust him a lot. And it's also in Atlanta where I played before, so it's been it's been good.
How tough are you treating him, Jeremiah? Because he says you're tough on him, but you seem nice to me.
That's what I was going to say. I'm a really nice guy, I promise. No, you get a short window here, and you really have to grind and work. And I think probably just because I've been around the NBA some and teams and what they do, I kind of understand the intensity in which it's important to get to. And so I lean into that with the training that we do. But I promise I am a nice guy, and just try to push as hard as we can on the court, because we got to get there. So Kai has goals, and we all have goals, and so we've got to push through this window.
Well, Joel, we need to ask you this question. Kai wasn't invited to the NBA draft combine. 76 players were invited. Only 58 will be drafted. Over 200 players have applied for the draft, including a Philam, Ron Harper Jr. Now, were you previously advised that Kai wouldn't be invited to the combine? And will that somehow affect his chances of being drafted? Joel?
Yes, no, yes, maybe. There.
Okay.
We're good. No, let me try to answer in some sort of sequence, since you asked me about 12 questions there.
Okay.
In regard to the NBA Combine, I was not surprised that he wasn't invited. All NBA teams are not equal. It's not an accident. Some teams are always near the top, Miami, for example, and some teams are always near the bottom. I won't mention names. This is not an accident. This is a result of their scouting, their organization, how they do things. Teams that scouted Australia this year, which surprisingly, given the history of Australia sending players to the NBA, is not as extensive as one might imagine. We're very enthusiastic about Kai. That's why we have so many teams that want to bring him in for individual workouts. And we actually already have commitments from at least one team that said, if he stays in the draft, we'll draft him. We have that already. We're not sure that's the right place for him. And that's going to be a decision Kai and his family, his advisors make at the right time. But the point I'm being here is what needs to be understood is there's a lot of, I don't want to say trickery, but sort of gamesmanship when it comes to the NBA pre-draft camp. Example, let me ask you this, Quinito. If you're a team and you think a guy's pretty good, and you maybe aren't so sure other teams realize how good he is, do you want him on display for those other teams?
No,
What
you want to keep him under wraps.
Exactly. The way the NBA Combine works is each team gets a ballot. They vote for 60 players. Then they just basically do a popularity contest. Who has the most votes? What 75 players or whatever the number is have the most votes. So if you're a team that thinks a player is pretty good, but you're not positive other teams realize it, the last thing you're going to do is vote for him because you don't really want him in a display case. And that's what a lot of people don't understand about how this stuff works. Now, the teams that have invited Kai that I've spoke to, and I spoke to them during the year, of course, are very enthusiastic about Kai. his potential, what he accomplished this year. He's a young player that got better every week in Australia.
Mhm.
The year before, between Ignite delaying their season, between COVID, between him going to the Philippines to play for the national team event that didn't happen, then coming back and it was too late to join the G League team, it was pretty much a wasted year. So he was invisible that year, okay? Then we have this year. If a team doesn't scout Australia well, he's invisible to those teams. So we've got a minority of teams that are incredibly enthusiastic about him. And guess what? Those teams didn't want him in Chicago because they don't want other teams seeing, hey, wait a second, we got a 7-3. And by the way, Gretchen, 7-3, not 7-2. Just hate to correct you about anything, but while we're being accurate here, Jeremiah, you measured him recently, 7'3" in shoes. Is that correct?
That is correct.
There you go.
I was on my tippy toes looking up there. It was true.
I should correct Google then.
Yes, you should. Please go ahead. In any event, that's the way the NBA Combine and the NBA works, okay? That's why sometimes you see players become first-round picks or high second-round picks. Who is this guy? He wasn't invited to Chicago. You see, the media, which is the media in the United States that cover these things, don't really understand how this stuff works, okay?
Mhm.
They just kind of report, oh, these guys are invited to Chicago. These must be the best guys. Not true, okay? If it was true, I'll give you an example here. Jimmy Butler was maybe the best player in the NBA playoffs this past round. If he wasn't the best player, he was certainly in the top 2 or 3. This is a guy that was the last pick in the first round, 30th in his draft. This was a guy that the NBA laid low on because they, didn't want to publicize how good some teams thought he was. Kai is in a similar situation. Teams that like him really like him, and teams that didn't scout him don't know. So that's the answer.
Well, Joe, can you tell us a little bit more about this process? When teams call, for instance, asking about Kai, what do you tell these teams about Kai? Or is it the other way around? Do you call up teams and tell those teams about Kai?
Well, it's a combination. I receive calls, I make calls. Obviously, my job as his representative is to promote him. I'm his advocate. So yeah, I'm very aggressive and assertive in that regard. But I certainly have had teams call me and say, tell us what's going on with him. He seems to be getting better. What's going on? And where's he training at? Dallas called this past week. Where's he training at? We want to bring him in, but we also want to go see him train where he's training at, et cetera, et cetera. So it's a combination.
Mhm. I think we should hear a little bit from Patty. Of course, you've been handling Kai for quite a while now. When was it when you realized that Kai is ready for the NBA draft, and what made you decide? Because if I'm not mistaken, you only get one chance at getting drafted. And why do you think now is the right time and Kai is ripe for the draft?
So I'm going to let Joel actually answer that question because that is a misnomer that's out there. He doesn't just get one chance. Joel, you want to explain the situation?
He doesn't get just one chance. That was very well put. He would have the opportunity, if he so chooses, on June 13th to remove himself from the draft and be in a future draft. We'll make that decision at the right time. I'd be delighted if he was a not draftable player. In other words, if he was a free agent now, because the draft is an artificial restriction on player compensation, okay? Gretchen, for example, you're a famous announcer. You're obviously very good at what you do. What if somebody said to you, you've been drafted by Channel 7 in Cebu City? That's the only station you can work for. If you don't want to work for them, you can go do something else with your life. You probably wouldn't be that happy. And you probably wouldn't have any leverage for them in negotiations for your salary. That's the NBA draft right there. They're saying you've been drafted by the Dallas Mavericks. You can work for them or go get a job as a waiter or a busboy or whatever, okay? That's where you're playing basketball in this country. So the draft is a restriction. If you told me today, if I had a choice where Kai was eligible for the draft or if he was a free agent, I'm taking free agency, of course.
Okay.
So, and again, another thing many people don't really understand about the draft. They think the draft is all that because the NBA looks at it as a publicity party, which it is for them. I get that. But what it is, it's an artificial restriction on player compensation and player mobility, which would be unheard of in any other profession. If I went to Harvard Law School right now and told the top graduate there, you've been drafted by a law firm in Sacramento, you're either going to be a lawyer in Sacramento or you're not working as a lawyer in this country, they would have a fit and there would be lawsuits filing left and right. But that's what happens in the NBA.
So let me get back to Patty. Why, I mean, given all of that, why did you decide to have him enter the NBA draft this year?
I mean, honestly, Gretchen, Kai has a team behind him, but it's his voice. Kai wanted to enter the draft. This is Kai's dream. This is his journey. We're just here supporting what he wants to do and there to advise. So, we've been so happy about the progress that Kai's made since he came to the States, from, graduating to playing at TSF. I mean, all the national team competitions, as Joel said, each year he's progressed, and he did an incredible job in Australia. So this was Kai's decision, and we're supporting that decision.
So just a question for Joel. Entering the draft is not going to be the be-all as far as the future of Kai is concerned. He can enter the draft. He may or may not be drafted, but if he's not drafted, it's not the end of the world. I mean, Max Strus, who's playing awesome for the Miami Heat, was never drafted, but he's starting for the Miami Heat.
Yeah, well, more importantly, Duncan Robinson, who's sitting on the bench for the Miami Heat, was not drafted and got a contract for $180 million. I'm an agent. I have to think that way. Sorry.
Right.
But no, look, whether he remains in the draft or doesn't this year, that's going to be up to Kai and anyone he relies on for advice. And we need more information, which we'll have by June 13th. We don't have all that information right now because he hasn't visited NBA teams in person. I am strongly convinced, believe that when he visits NBA teams in person, they're going to be kind of dazzled. Now, that doesn't mean that he's going to stay in the draft or not. That's going to be a decision he makes. But I'm very confident they're going to be pretty dazzled.
I think we should go to hear a bit from Jeremiah on Kai's training so far. As a 7-footer, what do you think would be his edge? And how many have you seen the other 7-footers in the NBA draft?
Yeah, I think Kai is unique and special just because of his skill set, right? Like, first of all, you hear all the conversation from Kai, you hear all of us, and Kai really has a growth mindset, right? Like, he's focused on the big picture of getting better every day, working hard every day, and getting there. So, like, this timeline that we're putting on it and everything, where he goes and the pressure, he's just focused on getting better, which I think is most important. His skill set is unbelievable, right? With that size and length, his IQ and ability to just play the game with his mind, to see the floor, to pass the ball, to shoot the ball, he can really do everything. So he's pretty unique in that. Now, I think there are things that he can always improve on, right? And you see this a lot in the NBA. There's a lot of small ball. There's a lot of switching on pick and rolls. And so, like, how's he move laterally? Can he switch onto guards? How does he play the pick and roll? Can he hedge and get back? And so those are some things that we've been working on and improving just his conditioning and his shooting, because in any pre-draft workout that you go to with any team, you got to be able to shoot the ball and you got to be in great shape. So those are kind of the base items that you have to capture. And then, he's gotten better. He's gotten tougher. He's moving better defensively. And I think more importantly, even than his lateral movement, is I think now he understands how long he is. Like, before, when I saw him at TSF, he was so tall, so long, but he didn't realize the impact he could have by just putting his hand up, or how he changed shots or blocked shots. And I think he's realized that. And again, that's just a part of his process. So he's getting better. And I think those things are going to, as Joel mentioned, like, he's going to dazzle some people. He looks like an NBA player.
Yeah, his if I can say this here, his skill set for a guy 6'9" is off the charts. Let alone a guy who's 7'3". And I'll go back to an analogy I make sometimes, that diamonds are really expensive because they're rare. So's Kai. And so he's going to be a valued commodity. He's a valued guy.
I'm sure his fans would be delighted to hear all of that from you. Let's go to Kai. I mean, we've seen you grow leaps and bounds from your Gila stints here and moving on to the NBL, where you managed to have a career high of 21 points there. You also won MVP from all of the fans. Your jerseys, if I'm not mistaken, was one of the highest selling jerseys. What have you learned in your stint in the NBL with Adelaide? And how has that made you tougher as a basketball player and mature?
First of all, I want to thank the team, organization, Adelaide 36ers. I believe they really helped me develop and improve as a player and as a person. And living in Australia at first wasn't easy, but I just saw how they welcomed me as a teammate, as a player, and I'm just very happy, and I think I really learned a lot since day one till the end of the season. I adjusted to the physicality, to the way of playing, and just also taking care of my body. I really learned much, and I just pretty much enjoyed my experience, and those memories that I had in Australia will be with me forever. And I feel like I really improved. And heading into this NBA job, that experience in Australia really helped me. And now I'm in Atlanta, continuing to get better.
Well, Kai, we followed your games in the NBL, game after game with the Adelaide 36ers. And we did notice a marked improvement every game. But beyond the physicality, beyond the skills that you showed on the court, what about your mental toughness? Something that's obviously going to be a very, very big factor when you enter the NBA.
I think mental toughness comes from, for me, I think it comes from preparation. I think if you are well prepared, I think that will really help you as a player to be confident. And if you're prepared, if you're well prepared, you're confident, and if you're confident, you're gonna do good. So that was my mindset in Australia. Ever since I played basketball, I just do my best to prepare, to do everything to be ready when the time comes. So that's what I've been doing, and that's what I'm doing right now. So yeah, I'm just excited for what's to come, and yeah.
Well, Kinito, I'd just like to ask him about something that I've seen him develop through time, which is actually on his physical body. He's got tattoos now. And I noticed that. I mean, does that help you in any way, like mentally? And is that a rite of passage? Because I see a lot of basketball players, and it feels like, it's part of belonging, and also showing that you got some, tough balls out there. Can you show us your tattoo first?
I think for me, my tattoos, I just got it from my dad, because growing up, I saw my dad have tattoos on his arms, and I just thought, as a kid, when I grow up, I wanted to have some. And I don't really think it helps me basketball wise, but it's just our own liking. And yeah, when I went to Australia, I had some free time, and this Filipino tattoo artist that I trusted, and they helped me get some, and yeah, I'm very happy.
What did you get tattooed on yourself?
This one is the first one I got. It's Poseidon, because my name Kai is in other words is sea or ocean. So I got Poseidon because he's the god of the sea. But the others, I just like the design. Actually, my dad gave me the designs. I just stole it from him. It's a fallen angel, and this one's Hades, and it looks pretty cool. So I got him.
Any plans on putting tattoos on your left arm?
I I think so in the future. I'm
Yeah.
taking,
We'll wait for that. We'll wait for that.
Okay,
Yeah,
none
I'm
in your
taking
face.
time.
None in your face. I mean,
no, not in my face.
Mike Tyson has a trademark for tattoos on his face.
No tattoos in the face.
Don't tattoo a girl's name there.
Nah, that's
Giving
bad
you
luck.
advice right now.
We hope you enjoyed. That was only part one of our talk with Kai Sotto and his team. And in our next episode, we're going to bring you part two of that very interesting conversation. So thank you so much for joining us in this episode.
And remember, part 2 is going to be on Sunday, same time. We're going to come to you at 9 p.m. And the part 2 of this Kai Soto exclusive is going to reveal even more things about what it takes for the first ever Filipino, full-blooded, to make it to the NBA.
Wow, that's a dream for so many of us Filipinos, diba? And we're cheering and praying for Kai Sotto. Well, before we end this episode, we want to thank our sponsor who makes this show possible, and we hope that you can support them as well. PlayItRight.com has wonderful products, sports products, fitness products, different brands, world-class brands, very high quality, and really good prices. For sure, you're going to find something for yourself, your family, or your friends, or someone that you might perhaps want to gift. So please check out PlayItRight.com.
And don't forget, like and subscribe, share, and plus hit that bell button so you get notified every time we have new episodes, new shows, new prizes to give away. All right, Diane, that's it for our episode, part 1 of our exclusive Kai Sotto interview. Don't forget, part 2 on Sunday. This is Kinito Hanson. Thanks very much.
I'm Leanne Castillo. See you next time. Bye.